Season 2. Here we are.
That's crazy to say season 2.
I know. Wow, look at, you have Ava's Arena.
Yeah.
I'm repping Iowa.
American Eats Farmers.
And for 17, we'll talk about that. I know we did a recap already of season 1, and I think so much has changed since we last did the show.
Q1 of 2026 was something.
Yeah.
It was.
We had a record number of downloads, which is great and surprising since we hadn't had a show. So we're grateful for all of you for that. And for a podcast of our size, that's really great. I was doing some research, as you know, I like to do.
Do you have some sort of quote statistic that can back up your thoughts and feelings?
Wow. I do, actually. That most podcasts never make it past a handful of episodes.
What's a handful? Is it 5 because it's 5 fingers in a hand, or?
I don't know. I thought I wouldn't put the number up and it would just be good, but yeah.
I like to know the origin of phrases.
Yeah, no, I do.
Life isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. And along the way, we all stumble, learn, and keep going.
Welcome to Running Ahrens, a podcast about navigating marriage, parenting, business, faith, and all the unexpected detours that come along with it.
We're Justin and Sarah Ahrens, partners in life, business, and raising 4 incredible kids.
For over 30 years, we've been figuring things out as we go. Sometimes successfully, and sometimes, well, not so much.
But that's the beauty of hindsight. We're here to share the lessons we've learned, the wins, the failures, and the moments that have shaped us.
Through honest conversations, special guests, and maybe even a few stories from our kids, we'll explore what it really takes to grow, adapt, and move forward.
So whether you're running a business, a household, or just running late,
you're in the right place. Let's do this together.
We're glad you're here. Welcome to Running Ahrens.
Well, this year we talked, last year is exciting, and this time of our life we have a lot going on. So season 2, we will have 1 episode a month for sure, maybe 2. And if we
feel that's reasonable.
Yep. And if we don't have a second episode, we definitely will have some things that we're writing about. So that is a new rhythm. And of course, for those of you who've subscribed to our show, we hope you do, or our newsletter, you'll get updates on the regular. So where do you want to start? So much has happened.
Yeah, so much has happened. I can't even remember exactly when we did a recap. Was it early January or was it December? Not that it really matters.
I can't remember, actually.
But one of my big takeaways from doing a podcast is the vulnerability attached to it.
Okay, tell me more about that.
Well, I've written about this, and we may have even talked about this, but I don't think we did. When you're putting yourself out there, and literally out there, we're out in the interwebs, and people are downloading it and sharing it, which we're so grateful for. It also opens you up to criticism. It opens you to all the things. And I've had friends reach out to me and share that it was a very meaningful, episodes were meaningful to them. It helped them through some hard times. I had our painter who has painted in our house, not like an artist, but a painter of walls.
Oh, I don't think you've told me.
Oh, she sent me a text saying, I don't know how I found your podcast, but I did, and I really love it. And that is really encouraging. But we've also had some points where people have used the podcast against us. Is that
I suppose. I guess it's the way you look at it. I mean, it goes back to, you and I originally started to do this because we thought we were going to be empty nesters. And we thought, would it be fun to maybe
have a project to work. And plus we weren't working together for the first time in a long time.
And even if no one listened to it, at least we could document this so we could have it, I don't know, for ourselves. And then it ended up being something more, which was great. And I know that's part of why we've not gotten back on the mic, is just kind of processing why we're doing the show. Do we want to keep doing it? All that sort of thing. And I think we've both come to the determination that absolutely you want to keep doing it because we enjoy it.
We do. And I had to let some bruises heal.
Yeah.
And I had to decide if I was willing to still take those punches and still find value in what we're doing. And I have decided that, yes, I do. Vulnerability is not my forte.
Oh yeah, you're a big fan.
Now, you know what I should have worn, you guys? I have found the best shirt. And it's a blue
You
sweater.
need to stop doing that. That seems weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm doing that because of what the shirt is printed on. It's a blue sweater, and embroidered on it, it says emotionally unavailable.
I know that's funny. It's not as funny being your husband, but it's still funny.
You know, it's funny because it's more so making fun of myself, but also taking it on right in its face that I am not unemotional or emotionally unavailable. But maybe I put out that perception.
Well, I do want to take this moment. This is, of course, not scripted here. I'm very proud of you.
About what?
I would say, and I'm asking for grace in advance in case this comes out wrong.
Oh.
No. I would say that there are times that you definitely come off, for lack of better terms, like a cold fish. Like,
I have been told I come off unapproachable.
yes, whatever adjective you want to use, all of those things are true. With that said, for the last, a couple of years, but specifically the last year, and even more so the last 90 days, with everything that's been happening, you've really leaned in. And I think that I'm super proud of you, number one. Number two, I think that there's so many parts of your and my life that I feel are opening up, evolving, and becoming, maybe because of our age or because of the last couple of years and just kind of navigating all of that crazy. But before I went on, I just wanted to share that bravo, keep doing it. I love that you're leaning into your feelings. The other day, you actually even told me that you were sad.
I did.
Yeah.
But my sad doesn't present as normal sad.
No, like for those who are watching the video, this is her sad face. And this is her I'm not sad face.
That's not fair.
For those of you listening, it was the same face. Anyways, why don't we talk about what's happened since our last show and some of the things we have prepared for the season? Because we already have several episodes recorded.
We do.
And for those who are a part of those episodes, thank you for the grace. We actually recorded them months ago, and we're just getting back into the swing of things. We even talked about we're adding this video component, and we'll continue to improve that as we go. But what's life thrown at us since the holiday?
We've spoken about it before, I believe, but we're both in this stage of supporting aging parents. And for me, you had that modeled for you because you had grandparents who were like, your grandmother lived with you towards the end of her life. And again, you had grandparents. And my grandparents all passed away before I was born, except for my one grandfather who lived out of state. And we didn't see him terribly often. And I think I was 8 or 9 when he passed away.
Well, you had a grandma. You had my grandma.
I did. But I'm talking about like seeing my parents deal with their parents is what I was getting at. Not deal with, that's a terrible way. Seeing
how they
navigate when their parents' health is starting to decline. So I didn't have that modeled for me. Not that you need to see it done to know how to do it, but as my parents in the last 2 years, just over 2 years, under 2 years, it doesn't matter. In the recent past, my mother took a fall and got severely hurt her shoulder, and that happened. And then we quickly realized that my parents could no longer live on their own. And so
that was big.
That was a big deal. And so we were navigating with them, helping them move into a lovely, it's a retirement community.
Well, let's pause on the details for a second. Let's talk about something since we started with emotions. Let's talk about a little bit how odd or strange or troubling or whatever adjective you want to use, it was how fast things shifted with your parents and how everyone had to navigate that.
Yeah, it wasn't an ease into entry. It was mom fell in November and she never came back home.
Right.
And then having to help my father come to grips with it was time to move out, even though he didn't require that. But so they got moved in. We had some bumps along that way. And my father had always been a force in my life. He was active and he had a presence. And in February, he passed away. And that happened. It's so silly to say it happened quickly, but it really did. At the start of January, he was pretty fine. He'd had some heart issues that had been ongoing for a while.
I think 2 weeks before he died, he was driving around going to places.
No, it was about a month. It was about a month because he started deteriorating. We started having issues with his heart and his kidneys, and anyone who has dealt with congestive heart failure, it becomes a whack-a-mole between getting the right balance of medication that isn't too hard on your kidneys, because the diuretics to get rid of the excess fluid create a lot more work for your kidneys, and then also making sure your heart can still work. And it became a very, probably a frustrating endeavor for my dad. And we had to navigate.
Yeah, because
hospital.
Getting old is
Not for sissies. That was my dad's favorite saying. He said it to me, I can say pretty confidently, almost every time I saw him.
And every time we went to their place to have dinner, he would look around and be like, man, there's so many old people here.
And to frame it, my dad was 92 and probably one of the oldest people in the place.
Yeah.
And he always made a joke that when they planned this place, they didn't make a parking space big enough for all the walkers at dinner. So he had a good sense of humor some of the time.
Most of the time. Yeah.
But he went into the hospital early February, and we put him in hospice because he was done with the medical.
The whack-a-mole thing.
He just wanted to go home. He went into hospice on the night of February 15th. And he passed away in the very early morning hours of February 17th. I will call it a gift of being able to spend almost the entire last day with him while he was in hospice. I went and spent the day at their place, taking care of him, helping my mom get set up, with no thought that this was the last day of his life.
And I had a gift because I was in the middle of a big project, and you said, why don't you take a break and come have dinner?
I was a little bit selfish too, because I was starving.
Thank you for being selfish, because I was able to spend a couple hours with him on his last day, which was huge. In fact, I even told you I left at 7:30. You left around 8:30. I told you when you got home that, man, we got weeks with him. And then we got a call 12:30 that he had passed. So
yeah,
that was wild.
It was. And that day, he was funny. He was engaged. When he woke up that morning, my mom asked him how he felt. And he said, with his hands, which is kind of even funnier because that wasn't his normal self.
Hold on. What did he say to Hendricks about what he did for a job?
No, he was asked when we were meeting with the hospice team, and they asked him what he did for work. And he said, hopefully not that much, or as little as possible, which was, again, so not funny, but not on his brand at all, because he was a hard worker and he worked until he was 77.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, he passed away in the early morning hours, and that was a big shock. I mean, I knew it was happening, but I did not think it was going to happen.
Well, just like some people said, even Pastor Brian, just he felt indestructible for so long.
Yeah, he did.
Although we all are not. And, now we're in this stage where, my mom's not in the best of health. My dad has congestive heart failure now. Your mom is challenging. We've had friends that have lost their parents.
Mm-hmm.
Some friends have lost both their parents.
Yep.
And so it feels like we're in this chapter now, I guess, or season of life of our age that more of this will be happening.
And then going back to the emotion side of it, I never had a big cry about this, which not shocking to anyone that knows me. But I realized that grief came, and I'm dealing with grief. It's just not in the movie version of it where I'm sitting around and crying. Following his service, which was lovely and wonderful, and it was a gift. Again, I use that word a lot again, but it was lovely to hear from and see so many people from his life and just realize his effect, his ripple effect in life and where that went. But the level of exhaustion those days after, I had never experienced. And it wasn't like the kind of exhaustion where a nap or sleeping well that night would help. It was many people as I've read more and kind of delved more into this, and of course my algorithm is full of this now. Your body has memory. Your body has and so my body I was grieving and I was experiencing grief and I had sadness, and it just wasn't coming as tears. It came in different ways. And I still get hit by strange things that might throw me for a little bit.
Give me one.
Well, like when we were looking for pictures for the slideshow during his service, and we were making, the grandkids all got together, the local grandchildren, and put together pictures on boards, trifold boards for the visitation. And I was digging for some pictures because my dad, and you can see where I got it now, my dad did not keep things. And I found a box from college that I knew I had, but I didn't really even know what was in it. And I'm not a saver. For whatever reason, I chose to save, if not all, most of the notes and cards and letters from those 2 years. And I found 5 handwritten cards from my father in there that he wrote to me my freshman and sophomore year.
Aren't you glad you saved that?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I
just wanted.
so. That was
no.
your I told you so.
No, it wasn't. I just wanted to get it on tape. Go ahead.
But, and one of my things I said was no news is good news about my dad. He really wasn't a guy that said, I'm proud of you, but I knew he was. But he wrote in those cards, and he wrote, I'm proud of you. And even one of them, he said, you're a one of a kind, Sarah, and a wonderful one of a kind at that.
Oh, you didn't tell me that.
Yeah. And I was like, look at me not remembering accurately. So that.
It's interesting. My mom and your dad have, like, when you look at it, they have really cool penmanship, but it's hard to read.
Yeah. But
it's just a random thing.
And so this week I got a tattoo in honor of my father and used his signature from one of those cards. So that was great. But again, it was a grief, like it was a sadness that, and I kept saying to you, it's very strange to be in a world that my father doesn't live in anymore. And how did his passing affect you?
I went into extreme overdrive. Would you say that's true?
I would say yes. And I let you. If you remember, I didn't.
Was that your way of me wanting to say thank you?
No, I'm just saying normally I would critique you about that stuff, and I didn't.
Yeah, so I wanted to understand more about your dad's career, both professionally and also his sports career. He was a Hall of Fame fast pitch softball player, which a lot of people don't know that was a thing back in the day. And the original idea was, could I make some baseball cards for the grandkids and just have a keepsake, something?
No, I think the original idea was the Jumpman, your hat. This. Because we realized that one picture we had of him pitching was very similar to the Michael Jordan Jumpman.
Yeah, the logo came from that, but I was already planning on doing the baseball cards. And then the baseball cards turned into this, and that turned into a hat. Then it turned into one of your dad's. Years ago, when he was 65, we did a T-shirt. My brother-in-law Chad and I did a T-shirt where it was his sayings. He used to say sayings, and some of them were very practical. Some of them were just kind of hilarious, like you can't hit you can't hit a bull in a fanny with a bear full of rice.
Yeah,
was another one.
He said one of them, which we didn't put on there, which he wrote in every one of the cards. Use your morning hours. He's a big fan of getting up early and using your morning hours. Can of corn.
Yeah. Baseball term.
No, yes, it is. But do you want to know the origination of can of corn? Because I know it.
Okay.
Back in the olden days of like a general store where you'd walk in and ask for things, and then they would pull them down and get it. The corn, cans of corn and cans of things were kept on the top shelf, and they'd have to grab like a broom or some sort of handle to knock it down and catch it. So that's where it became a baseball phrase, like a pop fly that was easy to catch.
Yeah.
Can of corn.
I love it. And then the one that most of us aligned with and use is "I love you 100 million trillion worth," which we made into a little T-shirt for everyone.
Yeah, he said that to us growing up all the time.
And that's kind of a really unique. And of course, the constant and consistent repetition of the same visual and verbal elements.
That is the definition of communication.
He told me that quite often. So for me, I kind of went into overdrive making all these things, half of which we probably didn't even need. And it wasn't until, a week or two later when I was just sitting in bed thinking about it, I just realized what kind of impact he had on me. And he wasn't someone I saw very often. It was just now and then. I mean, when we first got married, we saw them a lot because they would just come down and see us at school, and they would, at the time, they would winter in Arizona, so we saw them quite a bit when we first started. But I don't know. I didn't see him that much the last couple of years, just when we went over there now and then, right? And
it wasn't daily.
Yeah, family, holidays. Anyways, the impact he had on me was massive. I know I could always go to him with things, and I think that we had a really unique relationship, and I appreciated that. And I'll miss it.
Yeah. And then now it's just moving into, figuring out the best way to care for my mom as she has health concerns and just her living on her own for the first time in her life. And because she went from living with her family of origin, to living with her husband. They were married for 65, would have been 66 years this June. So it's this stage of change, which this is what life is about. It's a constant evolution of change. Did I tell you that in one of my crossword puzzles, I've started doing crossword puzzles to make sure I keep my mental clarity. And one of the hints, or whatever they're called, clues, whatever, prompts, how about we just go into the prompt? And it was Stephen Hawking said, intelligence is the ability to adapt to change. I don't know if that's really something he said, but that was the clue. But yeah, so isn't that
That's
interesting?
brilliant. Yeah, I'm not to write about. That's good.
But so whether or not you want change to happen, change is going to happen. And also during this time, I came across the coach of the Duke women's basketball team. I believe her name is Kara Dawson. If I have that wrong, I apologize, but I think that's what it is. But she's a phenomenal person to follow on Instagram if you like to have inspiration, and she's just a badass woman. And she was talking about how life doesn't get easier. It's never going to get easier. You just get better at doing hard
things. Yeah.
And that really spoke to me. And I've really tried to bring that into how I frame things, that life isn't going to get easier. I just need to get better at doing hard things.
Yeah. And we've had another big change in our life.
We have. And this one's a happy one.
Yeah.
It's kind of the
yin yang of
the
life.
yin yang. Yeah.
So Quinner, aka Quinn Dog, aka Cue Ball, got engaged.
He did.
That was awesome. That was a good day.
It was. We got the joy of being there and being hidden and watching it happen on a mountain in Arizona. And then we got to spend the night with them, celebrating them and just being with them. And now they're starting in this new phase of life where we're planning for a wedding. And so that's a joy, joy side.
Well, and also it's complete joy, right? But we're needing to figure out how do we navigate now, right? Like, it's great to have Tori soon to be part of our family officially, although it feels like she's already. Okay, so we had a little technical difficulty there.
We did.
Yeah. So
we had to switch locales. So
yeah.
Welcome to the new space.
Yeah. That's our kitchen area. We're looking into our living room. So we were talking about Quinn.
Yeah. Or just, it's another stage. And although completely full of joy, there's also a grief. And not like, I don't know, but it's just a change, another change.
Transition.
A transition.
Yeah.
That's a better way to say that. A transition into this new space of he won't be part of our day-to-day.
It is a weird one. Yeah. So they're looking at apartments. It's exciting. And then we also have our other kids all progressing and figuring out next steps and things to do. And that's exciting. Jackson may go to graduate school. So we'll find that out in a couple weeks.
And Kenzie's investigating moving.
Right.
And I'm a big believer in when you're this age, you go and you live and you fall down, and maybe you don't fall down, but go and explore. And
Yeah. She's going to move out. Whether she moves out and lives somewhere here or she goes on an adventure, to be determined. So that's exciting. And then you have something fun coming up.
Well, I think, I've started the process of applying to get my MBA. My employer has a program where they cover a lot of it, if not all of it. And so I recently found out about that. And so I want to take advantage of that. So I've started that. So I'm excited for that.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. And what about you? You've got something going.
I do. Well, this weekend, if we find time for you to review a couple things, my book is going to the publisher. So that's exciting. I know.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I know it's been a lot of start and stop. I had a publisher, didn't have a publisher, and do it on my own. Talk to some other people. Still may use a publisher in the future, but for right now, going to do the first edition on our own, a self-published book. So that's exciting.
Yeah. And you did launch that like a pre-sale, and we've had some people order it. So thank you.
Yes.
Any of your listeners, have ordered it. We thank you for that. And we're getting the stages done where we can start sending it out. So
yeah, lots of fun stuff planned around that. A little author tour. Also have some other products coming out of that. So it's going to be very exciting. And I think other than that,
nothing else is going on.
Yeah, work's been super fun. We have a lot of interesting things coming on. I'm recovering from my hip. We went and hit golf balls for the first time of the day. So that was great. I can actually play golf this summer. So I'm excited about that. Riding bikes, all that sort of thing. What are you looking forward to this summer?
Oh, I'm just looking forward to golfing, being outside, enjoying our yard. I'm looking forward to having it be more active with you, because last summer it was not. The first week of July, pretty much you stopped in your tracks.
So much pain.
And now we're just dealing with the bipolar spring of Illinois. But again, so many things, change, transition, and we're going to work at getting better at doing the hard things.
Yeah. So as we sign off here, what's coming up on this season of Running Ahrens?
Well, we have talked to some friends who are in somewhat the same space, started their own design company, and it's still going, and what that looks like. I have recorded with one of my college friends and talking about her experience in the world. And I have another colleague I'm going to speak to about diversity, equity, inclusion, and her career in that space.
We have a father-daughter show coming up where the daughter is a comedian. So that's going to be really enjoyable. And of course, we have a lot of topics that we want to dig into. I mean, we didn't even talk about how crazy the world's been the last 90 to 120 days. So
dumpster freaking fire.
So there's lots of things to go on, but our goal as part of the show is also to make a space where we can have honest conversations and positive conversations. Not that we're avoiding reality, but also we believe, or at least I believe, that how you show up every day is really up to you.
And what you put out in the world is what you'll get back.
Yeah. There we go. Are you ready for season 2?
I am. And again, thank you for over 2,500 downloads. That's mind-blowing to think about. And just for those of you who have reached out in support of us and telling us you enjoy it, we thank you. And again, if you can subscribe and like and share the podcast, we appreciate it. That's how we grow our following and able to get the word out. And if there's things you want us to talk about or questions you want us to answer, And again, we'll probably have some funnier topics on too, just our life sometimes. It's like a freaking sitcom.
Oh, and we forgot, we have a supply of golf visors, Running Ahrens golf visors, Running Ahrens hats. If you'd like to invest in those, we'd appreciate it.
And Running Ahrens t-shirts too. Yeah.
It's that time of year.
Yeah, you can go on to the website and order those, and we'll get those sent out
Those
to
would be
you.
great Mother's Day gifts or Father's Day.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Some of the best.
You really can't ask for a better gift than that.
You can't.
And again, just thank you all. We're excited. We appreciate the space we've had the last few months to grieve and process lots of things and keep working at getting better at doing hard things.
There we go. All right. Good job. We done.
Thanks so much for joining us on this episode of Running Ahrens. We truly love having these conversations and sharing them with all of you.
If something resonated with you today, we'd be so grateful if you'd rate and review the show. It helps more people find us.
And if you know someone who'd connect with this episode, send it their way. You never know who might just need to hear it.
We'd also love to hear from you, your feedback, your stories, or even topics you'd like us to tackle next.
You can connect with us on our personal socials, the show's Facebook page, or through the website, runningahrens.today. And links are always in the show notes.
Until next time, keep showing up, stay kind, and remember,
Life's the long run, and the best way forward is together.